Hi, Julie Powell here. Today we're going to have a look at doing some different dodge and burn techniques in Luminar Neo. So I've already been playing with this image, so I just wanted you to have a little look at how far you can take it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to discard all the edits and I'm going to go back to scratch. So as you can see, there's been quite a marked difference in this image already. Okay, so there's some pretty basic stuff that we can start with here. So we can do enhance, which will automatically adjust some different AI to the image, brightening it up a little bit. We can come in and we can do some other options in the develop module. So we can increase the exposure, but it is increasing the overall exposure, so you sort of want to be a little careful with that. It is increasing, you can increase the contrast, and we can play with the highlights and the shadows. Now we can mask these, so if we were to come in with the brush and we can take, for instance, we don't want the highlights on these areas here, so we're going to take that off. We can also play with the shadows and things like that. So if I take that mask off and put it back on, we've sort of made some difference to the image. So we can continue playing with various tools. Relight's another one that you can work with, so you can adjust the brightness on your subject close to you, and you can make it a little bit dark in the background. So there's some fairly basic tools that we can play with to accentuate our highlights and to increase our shadows. But if we drop down right to the bottom to the professional panel down here, we also actually have a dodge and burn tool. So if we click on that, and we'll have a little look at what we can do. So we've got lighten, which is dodge, and we've got darken, which is burn. And to be honest, calling it lighten and darken is probably far less confusing for a lot of people than having dodge and burn, because people get really confused about which one's which. There's also a handy little erase, so if you make a mistake, you can go back and erase what you did. You can change the size of the brush that you use, or you can use the open and close bracket keys to do that as well. You can adjust the strength of the brush and how soft. So if you want a hard edge or if you want a soft edge. Generally speaking, I would keep it sort of around the 75 mark. You can go softer if you wish to. Now I haven't done anything to her face, I haven't softened it, I haven't removed any of the blemishes, nothing like that, which is what I would probably do before I went in and did my dodge and burn, which I would probably do towards the end of it. But I'm just going to come in and show you how to do it. So the final slider that we've got here is the amount. So you can play with all of this, but if you decide it's too strong, you can come back in and you can reduce the overall amount or opacity of this tool. And every time you use this tool, you can do it in different parts and go back up into the edit module, and it will give you a different edit that you did on that particular tool. So to start with, I'm going to come down to the dodge and burn. I'm going to have my strength at about 20, and I'm going to come in and I'm going to do some highlights. Already I'm seeing that that's probably a little bit strong, so I'm going to erase where it was. If it comes up too strong, you will find that you will get some rather strange color abnormalities coming in. So I'm going to drop that down to about 15, and I'm going to come in and I can paint in the highlights where they need to be. And if you zoom in and take your time, you can be really quite specific with what you want to do. To start with, I'm just going to do a general all-round highlight, and then I'm going to come in and get a little more specific. So now I'm going to switch over to darken, which is going to darken everything up. I'm going to drop my strength down again, and as you can see, that is really quite strong. So I'm going to erase that, and I'm going to go down even further to 5. So I can adjust my shadows, and remember, we can bring the amount down if we need to. Some people actually find that it's a bit easier to go over the top and then bring the overall opacity down. So if I was to go into lighten and perhaps even just go a little bit too strong, and then I can bring that whole panel down. So that's before and that's after. So we're actually making quite a dramatic difference. So if I go over to edits, I can see that that's there. If I switch over to tools and come back and do another one, I can then start to work on perhaps, say, the background. So if I zoom out and I want to, I'm just going to put oops, and I can tone down the background of that image. So that I have her standing out from the background quite a bit. So I now have 2 different dodge and burn. So this was the one I did on her face. This was the one I did on her background. If I go back into tools, I can now come back into dodge and burn. And if I zoom right in, I can come in and I can go and do specific dodge and burn. So for instance, I want to put a little bit of highlight on her lip, and it's too strong, but that's okay. So on her eyes, her lips, I've put a little bit of a highlight, and then I can bring that back. Again, I can come in and I can do that's probably way too dark. I forgot to bring that down. So I'm going to come and do a little bit of dodge and burn on her face. So as you can see, you can really scale in what you want to do, and you can have it for various areas. So this is the eyes and the lips. This one is for the background, and this one is for her face. So I would recommend going in and doing the edit as you see fit, and then coming in at the end and doing your dodge and burn to your local areas. There's no reason why you can't go through and do your global shadow and highlight recovery, and then at the end come in and do a little bit of dodge and burn to really bring out the intensity and the details of your image. So that's it for Luminar. Thanks for watching.